Taking a trip back to the dollar bins, folks, this time for some reading. These are books that I remember from my childhood, or even more recent reads that I just know are awesome. They're not keys, no one talks about them, but they're pretty fantastic. So, if you're ever looking for just a single issue comic that has a lot of readability, these could be good options for you. Drop down your favorite comic below. It doesn't have to follow the prompt of just being $1. I still want to hear about it. But these ones are just $1. Swamp Thing 56. This is a weird one. The cover and the interiors, everything in here is blue. It's a bit of an odd, depressing romp through the issue. Metroid Prime levels of isolation, if you understand the reference. And the blue color scheme really fits the palette. This is a very artist-heavy issue right here with, standard to the Swamp Thing series from the time, amazing writing. I'm really grateful I know about this. I actually just picked it up and read it one day because of the cover and was pretty shocked to see the whole thing is blue. Can't recommend it enough. Astro City #1. Now, you also need to know that around the time it was the 90s, so things were really dark and dingy. So Astro City is a massive breath of fresh air, and still is to this day. It's a very bright, very positive superhero. There's a sense of wonder here that I don't think we really get that much anymore. I think Astro City is extremely accessible, and even though it's not a standalone issue, I would recommend picking up the trade. This first issue is an amazing starting point. Next one's going to be Hellboy Krampusnacht #1. Apparently I'm not alone on this, because when I was looking up pictures of this online, I actually saw that it won the Eisner for Best Single Story of the Year. It's really cool how they incorporate Krampus, the fictional character, into a Hellboy story. Really cool, really creepy art. If you are a Christmas time horror fan, this should be one you try to pick up. Not a key, but also not so commonly found in dollar bins, but if you know any Hellboy collectors that pick up all the issues, see if you can borrow this one. Next is one that's definitely not on your radar. Midnighter, the 2007 run, #7. Midnighter's powers have a tactical computer which lets him see the future, right? So the entire issue takes place backwards to show what goes on in his brain before the fight, and it kind of reminds me a lot of Watchmen non-linear storytelling, and other examples, of course. It's just one random issue that I'm glad I read because it stuck with me these many years later. Next is Daredevil 191. This is still in that Frank Miller pocket of time. This one's famously called Roulette, in which you get an entire issue with Matt Murdock playing Russian roulette with Bullseye. The entire issue is a self-reflection on whether he's actually doing any good for the city. Is he making a difference specifically with the youth? The pacing, the design of this issue is amazing. Those of you who have read it know what I'm talking about. It gives a lot of insight into Matt and his always conflicted Catholic guilt, but also you get a lot of good Bullseye and Matt interactions here. Next is Ultimate Spider-Man #13, super random issue in the Michael Bendis run. His use of teenage dialogue on full display. This is the issue in which Peter discloses to MJ that he is Spider-Man, and it's so authentically teenage, it will make you feel young. I love Ultimate Spider-Man, you guys might know that. I reread it almost every year, and this is sort of like a highlight point when I'm rereading the hardcovers. It's just really good. You'll just have to take my word for it. Next is going to be Sandman 31. I actually stuck to only one Sandman issue for this list. There's going to be one other in the honorable mentions. Went with 31 because it's a cool standalone issue story in which you have all the members of the Endless, all the brothers and sisters, basically making a bet with Dream that this guy Norton, actually Emperor Norton, a real historical figure, the technical only emperor ever in America, would either despair or live out his life. Dream interferes, you get death, you get despair, you get everybody in it. It's a good showcase of all the supporting characters in the Sandman universe, all wrapped up in one issue. I don't really want to give too much away. I really would suggest you read this one on your own. There's a lot of single issue Sandman issues that people like to point out. I'm going to go with 31. Check it out. How about Lobo the Duck #1? We've been doing a lot of comics on the list for different reasons. How about just absurdity and accessibility? This is one of those weirdest mashups you'll ever see. It's Lobo from DC and Howard the Duck from Marvel mashed up into one, and it kind of makes unbelievable sense. I don't know who saw this formula working, but we are so glad that they did. I think there was a lot of fun one-shots from that time that mashed things up. The famous one is the Wolverine-Batman mashup, but this one might be the goated one. I would highly recommend picking this up. Other than being known as the first appearance of Lobo the Duck, it's not a expensive key by any means, and you can pick these out of the dollar bin. Action Comics 775. I have two Superman entries on the list, and both of them are on here for finally a comic that understands Superman. So this is our first entry of that. Another one that's technically a key. There's a first team appearance here. Whatever. Most people don't even know it. It is an excellent Superman read. Truth, Justice, American Way, and it's really refreshing to see a team that actually knows Superman, because weirdly, a lot of people get Superman wrong. This issue gets him right. Spectacular Spider-Man 310. This is a weird one because it starts kind of goofy, almost like a standard kind of PG-rated Spidey book. And then you have this dramatic shift where this kid that he had previously saved dies out of nowhere, and all the dialogue up to that point just cuts out. It gets completely silent, as if to emphasize the gravity of what's happened. And it basically becomes kind of like a G.I. Joe 21, an all-silent issue. In the middle of the story, it's one of the best tone shifts I've ever seen, out of nowhere in the middle of a comic. Highly recommend you pick it up. That's on nobody's radar. How about Flash 54? Being a 90s kid, I remember this issue very fondly. It's called Nobody Dies. It is an entire issue where Flash announces his motto, nobody dies. But he's faced with a woman thrown out of an airplane. I don't know if you know this about Flash. He can't fly, but he still does the hero thing. Jumps out of the plane to try to save her. And the entire issue is the fall from the plane to the ground of Flash inside his head, wondering how the heck he's going to do this, what he's gotten himself into, and how he's going to persevere, and no one is dying on his watch, even if he's doing an impossible feat that even he knows he can't do. One of the best Flash issues in a single story ever. Check it out. Fantastic Four 605. This is a book that I don't really know. I don't read a lot of FF. I actually saw a TikTok mention this book, so I went and got it. Reed Richards gets all these glimpses into the future, and you actually see that Ben outlives all of them. And in each iteration, he's respected and revered for years and years to come, but you see Ben's isolation and him miss his friends. And it's almost too much to take when you finally get to the end and you see his funeral, thousands of years later. At the end, it cuts to Reed sharing a moment with Ben on the couch, and you can't help but want to just text your friends that you appreciate them. Let's go with Green Lantern New Guardians number 16, an incredibly underrated, totally slept on, barely picked up comic series. This issue is just badass. This one's not cerebral, this is just comic book fun. You have Kyle Rayner versus Ganthet. Ganthet, the teacher, Kyle Rayner, the student. And it's this epic, grandiose showdown between the two, and the final thing that happens culminates with Kyle Rayner becoming a White Lantern. This issue is so badass, especially if you're a Green Lantern fan, but specifically a Kyle Rayner fan. This is like the Kyle issue. Detective Comics 500, going a little earlier here. This is an anniversary issue in which you get Phantom Stranger showing up, telling Batman there's an alternate reality in which Thomas and Martha survived. So obviously Batman and Robin go into this reality and they have a chance to save Bruce. But in this reality, there's no other heroes ever. And if they save young Bruce Wayne's life, they're going to deprive that universe of Batman. This is something we see a lot more in modern comics, so it's really cool to see it in like a 1980 issue before that concept was really done. Can't recommend it enough. Hitman 34. So the Hitman series actually rarely interacts with superheroes in the DC universe. It's kind of its own thing, and that's kind of one of the best things about it. But you randomly have this one issue in which they not teamed up, but you get this rooftop interaction with Hitman and Superman. It's one of my favorite Superman comics, and it's in a frickin' Hitman book. Who knew that Hitman is able to hone in on what makes Superman Superman more than most other comic writers I've ever read? An awesome interaction between the two. I really like unlikely pair-ups too. Great issue. If you're a Superman fan, read it. If you're a Hitman fan, read it. Next is Batman 21. Technically, it's not a standalone issue. There's a couple issues that make up the story called The Button. But you have this all-action issue of Batman versus Reverse Flash. And no prep time. This is sudden, and he has to react to someone who the laws of space and time don't even apply to. I like using this comic as proof when people say, oh, Batman can only beat people with prep time. He is so outclassed in this fight and still becomes triumphant. You have to read it. It is really awesome, and it's Fabok artwork, so it's super crisp, super clean, very accessible. Definitely read it. All right, before we go, let's give you some honorable mentions. How about Astro City? 2 Astro City entries here. Half, the issue's half. Gotta read it, it'll change you. Fantastic Four, 267. Wildcats, 21. Sandman, 23. Batman, Judge Dredd, Judgment on Gotham. It's a one-shot. Nightwing, 87. This is from the new run. Swamp Thing, 28. People always like to talk about anatomy lesson, but this is a good one too. DC Special, 29. Fables, 18. And Thor, 300. All right, guys, get out there and get reading. Keep on hunting. Let me know what you love to read down below. I'll see you at the next video.